So you want to build an aesthetic body. I'm here to tell you exactly how. You want to target certain muscles, you want to eat a clean, proper diet, and you want to make sure you are not making the few mistakes that I made when I was trying to get the aesthetic physique. Let me just show you, I know what I'm talking about. I have the aesthetic physique. It took me over 3 years to get this physique. 2 bulks, 2 cuts, and I finally got there. And I'm going to tell you how to do it in 8 minutes. Let's go. The first thing you need to do is focus on the aesthetic muscles. Now, there are a few muscles that you need to prioritize over other muscles to get the aesthetic physique. Some of them are the lateral delt on the shoulders. You can hit that by doing lateral raises. Then we have the abs. Obviously, the abs, one of the most aesthetic muscles, that 6-pack. You can hit them through hanging leg raises. You can hit them through cable crunches and weighted decline sit-ups. If I was you, I'd pick the decline weighted sit-ups and the cable crunches. And as an optional, you could go and do the hanging leg raises. Now, hitting abs is actually really simple. You don't just eat clean. You don't just get to a low body fat percentage. You also hit them like you would any other muscle. You know how you hit bicep curls and you do, 8 to 12 reps? You do the exact same thing with abs. 6 to 8, 8 to 12, whatever. Just make sure you're in the hypertrophic range and you are going to failure. Remember, if you want to build a good physique, you have to go to failure. If you don't, you won't get a nice physique. The reason I have this physique is because I push myself in the gym. I make sure I go to failure. I make sure every week I'm going up in weight, progressively overloading. If you don't do that, you won't get a nice physique. So you can say goodbye to your hopes and dreams if you're not willing to put in the work and go to failure. The other key muscles are the upper chest. This part right here. You want to be hitting the upper chest with a few exercises. Now you can do incline dumbbell bench press where you put the bench to 30 degrees, you lay back, you get 2 dumbbells, and you're pushing up like this. Very good exercise for your upper chest. You could also do the same thing, but with a barbell. Then you could also do any other machine incline press in your gym. Any of those are going to hit your upper chest well, isolate your upper chest well. The reason we want to hit our upper chest is because it brings our chest up, it makes it look less floppy, less flabby, and it just gives it a fuller look. So we want to be hitting our upper chest, prioritizing our upper chest. Then we also want to be prioritizing our lats. The way we hit that is through lat pull downs, literally the best exercise for hitting lats. And I actually do it with the close grip. So the close grip like this, you're pulling down into here like that. Very good exercise, but you could also do wide grip. Then an added bonus is lat pullovers. Lat pullovers, try them. They are amazing. The stretch you get, the contraction, everything about it is amazing. Now, you may be wondering, why are you prioritizing these set of muscles? Why don't you just, hit the whole body? Well, we should aim to hit the entire body, the legs, triceps, the forearms, etc. But there are certain muscles that have more value, that provide more value. And those are the abs, those are the lats, those are the upper chest, those are the biceps. You want to be hitting biceps, the only way to do it, or the best way to do it in my opinion, is through incline curls where you're sat back on a bench that's inclined up and you're just going like that. Then we also want to be doing hammer curls, just dumbbell hammer curls, very simple, very easy. That is going to blow your biceps up, literally. I do them 2 exercises, that's it, and my biceps, well, they speak for themselves, eh? Now you know the main muscles to prioritize. So, when you're in the gym, I'm not saying to not hit all of the muscles. You should hit legs. You should hit your front and rear delts. You should hit your mid chest. But we want to be prioritizing these aesthetic muscles. If you just hit their main muscles, those aesthetic muscles we talked about, your physique is going to look good. Simple as that. What else do we need to build the aesthetic body? Well, we need a clean diet that is high in protein and is consisting of whole foods. Now, whole foods are foods that come from the earth. They are one ingredient and they typically aren't artificial like most of the bullshit you eat. Let's try our best to reduce as much as that bullshit artificial food we eat and increase our whole foods. The good foods that come from the earth, the eggs, the meat, the fish, the vegetables, the fruit, increase that and you will start to look a whole lot better. Just a quick disclaimer. In the description is my link to my aesthetic body course, and you will get in the best shape of your life if you take that course. And yeah, if you're really serious about this, go check the link in the description. Carrying on, you want to have that clean diet, okay? You want to have the diet that is high in protein and is from whole foods. The reason we want a high in protein diet is because protein is the best nutrient for putting on muscle. And then we want the whole foods because they give us energy, they're genuinely good for our internal system, and they will help us put on muscle and lose fat. So to get the aesthetic body, you need to have a lot of muscle mass and you need to be lean. The way you do that is by prioritizing them key muscles we spoke about, but also having a clean and healthy diet, because that's going to allow you to lose fat and gain muscle. Do you know what I mean now? So those are the two main things you need to be doing to get the aesthetic physique. If you don't have that clean diet the majority of the time, your physique isn't going to be good. If you don't train to failure, if you don't progressively overload and hit those key muscles, you're not going to look good. Okay, I'm giving you all of this value in 8 minutes, and it took me 3 years. 3 years to learn this. My mistakes that I quickly made, we're going to quickly go over it. First of all, I bulked and cut the wrong way. We both know that bulking and cutting can come with some severe consequences, and I went through a few of those consequences. Okay, I was way too fat when I bulked, and I lost too much muscle when I was cutting. So to avoid that, on our cuts, we don't want to do too much cardio. We don't want to restrict our calories too much. And on the bulk, we want to track our calories and make sure we're in a 300 to 500 surplus, rather than going over into thousands of calorie surplus and ruining our physique and in 2 months being fat as fuck. So make sure you have the clean diet. Make sure you're prioritizing the key muscles, training to failure, progressively overloading, and also avoid bulking and cutting wrong. You don't need to bulk and cut to get the aesthetic physique, but it can increase the progress you make. Another mistake I was constantly making was comparing myself. Now, my whole journey, my whole gym journey, I was comparing myself to people who are better than me. Only in the past few months, I've kind of stopped doing that and focused on my own physique, focused on my own progress, focused on how much progress I've been making from weeks ago, months ago, years ago to now. When you compare yourself to other people who are either unnatural that you see on social media or have been training for 5+ more years than you, obviously you're not going to feel good about your physique. You could genuinely be objectively jacked, but you don't even realize it because you see so many people around you that look better, because they're usually on steroids, because they've been training longer and harder. So you need to understand that you look better than you actually think. So continue working hard, continue making progress, but do so in a way where you compare yourself to yourself instead of comparing yourself to everyone else, because we all have our own separate journeys. And a lot of people who have ab veins, they are literally jacked, will look at themselves in the mirror and they'll go, I look fat, man. So body dysmorphia will come for you if you don't protect yourself against it. Stop comparing yourself to people on social media and to people just around you who've been either training longer than you, training harder, and they may actually be unnatural. Avoid those 2 key mistakes. Make sure you prioritize the key muscles, train to failure, progressively overload, and eat clean, healthy, whole foods. It's so simple, yet no one could do it because no one has discipline in this modern day. You are not going to get your goals only on motivation. You're going to get there from discipline. Carry on making progress, carry on making us proud, and get to your goals.